I am Erin Reoyo. I am the Dravet Foundation Family Network Support Group Liaison. Like Jamie mentioned, my husband and I, Leo, live outside of the Seattle area in Washington State. We are proud parents to our 6-year-old daughter, Eloise, and our 8-year-old son, Lionel. Lionel has Dravet syndrome. With me today, I also have a parent panel of parent ambassadors. I have Casey Capps from the Midwest. I have Melissa O'Brien from the West, and I have Austin Watson, also from the West. We do not have to do it all alone. We were never meant to. And that is one of my favorite quotes from Brené Brown from her book, Rising Strong. So first of all, look around you. You are absolutely not alone here today. So whether you are here in this room or virtually watching the presentation, you're not alone. You are a part of our community. That's not to say that we all necessarily want to be here, but I hope that when you do have those moments of loneliness and isolation, that you'll remember this sense of belonging. I have a little confession to make. I'm a recovering perfectionist. Before Dravet entered our life, I was very much an I can do it all. I'll just take care of that. I'll do it on my own. If you want something done right, I have to do it my way. So asking for help was not really an option. Every once in a while, these behaviors do creep in. For example, I could have asked ahead of time for it and making sure I had an adapter. But it's just, I know I look around here and I'm not alone in this. So we just simply cannot do it all. Expanding your help base isn't just a good thought, it's absolutely dire for us parents and caregivers. But how? How do we get what we need, and how do we even know what we need? At the time that I agreed to do this presentation, I had absolutely no idea what I was going to talk about. Marianne asked me, you don't say no to Marianne, and so I said, yes, I will do this presentation. So I started by jotting down ways that my family has received some help over the last 6 years. We've had compassionate self-care gifts. We've had neighbors volunteer to do babysitting and respite care. We have received funding for our service dog. I've had friends organize fundraisers for Dravet Foundation, either take over one that I started or simply do one on their own. We've had families make meal trains for us. We have had our school teams, our medical teams, just lots of people coming in either to support us directly to help or helping our Dravet community. I had to stop and recall, did I even know I needed all of those things? Did I ask for that help directly? And with a couple of exceptions, absolutely not. I really had no idea what I needed, and I certainly didn't ask for it. So here's what I did know. I knew that I needed to share our story. I needed to share about this unexpected journey we have found ourselves on, mainly through social media, but also through personal phone calls, emails, personal interactions with our closest friends and family, or even those that are not particularly close. We shared what was happening. We shared our dark moments, we shared our celebrations, those absolute highest of highs, but those lowest of lows. Spreading awareness about this horrible disease was of utmost importance, but what I didn't really realize is I was setting up our family to receive additional help and support. So I didn't know what to present. We get back to that. I was sharing my story with individuals outside of our Dravet community, but in the rare community, and through that, I came across content from Courageous Parents Network. If you're not familiar with the Courageous Parents Network, it is a nonprofit organization and educational platform that orients, empowers, and accompanies families and providers caring for children with serious illness. Their organization is passionate about educating families about anticipatory grief, palliative care, shared decision-making, and advanced care planning. Please go to courageousparentsnetwork.org to learn more. Founder and executive director Blythe Lord wrote a post titled "Giving Language to an Unarticulated Need," which highlights the 5 types of support that really matter to people. She states, In these early days after diagnosis, it is essentially impossible for parents to articulate what it is they need beyond a treatment or beyond a cure for their child because they don't understand anything about where they are or what they need to do. That resonated completely with me. I look back to those early days, weeks, months, even years of our diagnosis, and all I needed was I just need this fixed. I just need a cure. I had no idea of anything else that I needed. Today, I will share and define those 5 types of support that really matter to people. You should, thankfully, you have a handout there that lists the 5 types of support. I'm going to share how DSF might meet some of those needs. It's perfect what you've already learned about the seizure monitoring devices, other equipment that Jamie talked about with our programs. And I'm going to share some personal anecdotes about how our family has experienced that, and well as our parent ambassadors can share how the power of their story has led to that too. So my hope is that you leave here today informed about your needs and how the power of your story can help expand your help base. The first need is emotional support. Emotional support is feeling understood and accepted no matter what you are feeling. Who here would like a little emotional support, right? We could all use a little bit of that. Our online support group features the voices and perspectives of fellow parents. With social media platforms, parents can see their emotional challenges shared by others, can benefit from the insights of parents who have been there. We have an incredible Dravet Foundation support group. If you are not in that support group, please come find me. If you're not in there because you don't yet want to be in there, that's okay. Still, please come find me. That may change for you one day. We also have a lot of social media engagement. You see on Facebook and Instagram, Dravet Syndrome Foundation puts out public posts, and when you see other families commenting and sharing those stories, it gives that emotional support, it gives that glimpse of hope, and that's just one of the biggest things for DSF is helping to let those parents, they're not alone in their needs. Now, you may have heard the phrase, find your people, and I absolutely echo that. Many of my people are here today and provide me with a tremendous amount of emotional support. Dang it! I've talked a lot about sharing your story, but equally important are listening to stories. In fact, the very first person I ever told about Leonelle's diagnosis, dang it, was a stranger who bravely shared her daughter Grace's story. This little girl was terrorized by seizures, but in this article I read that she was getting some relief through a new medication in a clinical trial. I super sleuthed and Facebook stalked and figured out that powerful voice belonged to Gloria Rodriguez. And she has been a huge amount of emotional support for me since then. So, find your people. Next is informational support. Informational support is being directed to learning or finding information. And I am just so filled with pride about the amount of informational support that Dravet Foundation provides. You're here at a biennial conference. It's a little bit informative. We have a newly diagnosed kit. We have our Day of Dravet workshops. We have educational webinars throughout the year. We have brochures, resources, our Decoding Dravet blog, our Dravet Foundation news and notes. We are full of information. My personal connection to this, another part of my identity is I'm a speech and language pathologist. If I trip up on a word, I'm allowed to. I paid for it. So I spent over a decade working in schools, another half of a decade working in clinical practice, and I had never heard of Dravet syndrome until I Googled it once we were going through the diagnosis journey. So I make sure to tell our story to spread awareness to my colleagues, who then in turn go, oh, I've had a client with Dravet syndrome before. We're not violating HIPAA, we're just sharing the stories. But I'm helping to educate those professionals too, and what it might look like, and directing them to resources. And I learn about all the different access that's needed there as well. I get a lot of informational support from IEP advocacy groups. It's really important, if you have a school-age child, that you understand your rights, and that you're not staying silent when it comes to your child's needs in school, whether it's needing access to a one-on-one paraeducator, or if your child has specific nursing needs at school. Please continue to share your story. Kate had mentioned, she put it so eloquently, and I don't want to ruin it, but please don't think the more that are on your child's medical team, your child's school-based team, or in your expanded help base means that there is something more wrong about what the situation is. It just clearly means that you have more support there in all of those different avenues. Third item is tangible and practical support. Tangible and practical support is accomplishing tasks, for example, getting a ride somewhere or receiving a home-cooked meal. I wish DSF could provide you a home-cooked meal. I wish we could provide respite care for everyone. And really, I want that for you if that is what you need. And even though I'm really guilty of saying it on occasion, I cannot stand the phrase, let me know if you need something. Let me know if you need some help. I want people to just know what I needed. So I finally started saying, okay, let me know how you can help. I need a meal train for 2 weeks. Whether it's because I know we have a lot of appointments, whether it's because Lionel happens to be going through a big seizure phase and we just need that extra support. Let me know how I can help. Great, I need funding for our service dog. Great, I need you to connect me with our special education advocate. People want to help. Please take them up on that. It does take some practice, but I learned how to articulate those tangible needs. And when we don't ask for help, we deny others the chance to do something good. For DSF, we do provide the newly diagnosed kit. Jamie has already talked about the pieces through the program of devices. We have our patient assistant grants, and I know that many of you here today are here through the benefit of receiving a conference scholarship. So we do have some tangible support as well. There's self-esteem and affirmational support, and this is just feeling valued. For example, in your work, in your family, or in your community. Through seeing the example of other parents who have done the hard work in this strange land, parents can imagine and believe they can do it too. Better yet, they can see the strength in what they are already doing. DSF celebrates all the parents and caregivers and extended family and community members for the child and adult with Dravet syndrome. We offer our birthday buddies and our super siblings club. Personally, I get an incredible amount of self-esteem and affirmational support from listening to podcasts. Many podcasts, but those particularly in the rare disease community and in the caregiver community. Two that are my absolute favorite that I think you may even enjoy and find a lot of value in and get some affirmational support just knowing what a great job that you are doing are Once Upon a Gene by Effie Parks and Brave Together by Jessica Pate. And as I mentioned, it's not just about sharing your story, but listening to others, and I have found so many resources just through listening to those stories. The final type of support is belonging support, and this is feeling a part of something and a connection to a community. Our online support groups are about helping parents see that they are not alone. Rather, they are part of a large virtual group of amazing people who share similar struggles and triumphs. Dravet Family Network unites parents across 5 regions, including a special group for those who are caregivers to adults and who share a commitment to advocating for the needs of families in our Dravet community. In addition to that, I belong to our school's PTA. It is not our neighborhood school, so I don't have that exact sense of belonging as those are my exact next door neighbors, but I joined because I want people to know that we're there too and that we are part of this whole inclusion. I am an administrator for a hyper-local Facebook group for parents with children with disabilities. There is one near you too, and it's a great information and resource for exact resources in your local area. If there's not one, think about starting one. You can't be the first person in your area to support a child. It doesn't have to be with Dravet syndrome, but just making sure that you are receiving that belonging support of being connected to your local community. One last group that is really important for my belonging support, we had Eileen Devine participate for our Day of Dravet, and she did this wonderful brain first parenting. And she runs a group called the Resilience Room, and I have just received so much support as we're learning about our children's brain-based behaviors and being connected with other like-minded families. So on the sheets that I've passed out, and these are for you to take and to doodle and to jot your thoughts, I really want you to think about what solutions, if any, are available where you are at any scale. Is it your family, your friends, the Dravet community, your local school community, your hyper-local parents of disabilities community? At your state level, what resources those are. And just get support in any way you can. Get support that connects to who you are. I've invited these parent panelists up here because they have experience with getting support for increasing their medical teams, for getting support at a state legislative level and getting laws passed, for getting a seizure dog funded and providing additional resources at their school, and for getting support with fundraising events. I know, you guys don't want me to put you on the spot. That's fine. Any questions? I know this isn't new information for you. You know that you need the help, but hopefully this has helped put it into a little bit of better needs. Yes? Oh boy, how do you help those in your immediate and extended family find their way with Dravet? Courageous Parents Network put on a really wonderful presentation for extended family members, what it means for you, because everyone is experiencing their own grief. I can't exactly give a guidebook on how to help them find their way, other than just accepting and recognizing that their way is, or very likely will be, different from your own. Particularly in talking about in a relationship with spouses, you may come at it at 2 very different ways. I am a big advocate for mental health resources, getting yourself therapy, and counseling, making sure that you're talking it out, because we all just absolutely deal with it in different ways. I know sometimes having extended family members not understand the severity of the situation, and sometimes saying, oh, maybe they'll still grow out of it, and still not having that awareness I think it's just giving them still access to the resources that Dravet Foundation has. I think it's some things that we're working on behind the scenes too, is how do we support those extended family members? I would also sometimes just give them a direct job that might benefit you, so that they can see that it's more than just seizures, that you might need some support with this, or that you practice your own boundaries of, this is not something I can hear you say right now. Can we talk about something different? Or what would be helpful to me is if you could bake me, if you could make me dinner tonight, in that kind of sense. If you're feeling confident in being able to direct them, I would do that to help them see a little bit about what your path is, but still kind of giving them that space that they have to find on their own. I wish I had that exact answer, though. Sorry. Does anyone have anything that they want to share, a resource that's really been incredible for their journey?
I'm Georgia. My name is Georgia, and I live in Los Angeles County, California, but I've lived all over the country, New York, Florida, Tennessee. And I have found the association called TASH, TASH.org, and I haven't even met anybody here who's been familiar with it, but it's an advocacy organization located in Washington, D.C., and it's a national organization that promotes the full inclusion worldwide for people with disabilities. And all my life my son is 37 and he is newly diagnosed, but I was so hell-bent to have him in his community school, his neighborhood school, all those things in a regular classroom, and I was successful, mostly successful with it, and I had people from TASH helping me, like going to meetings with me, that kind of thing. So it is an advocacy organization. If you have advocacy needs, you can call TASH. You can join TASH for probably $50 a year, but not even if you don't join, I'm sure they would give you resources in your area. We have so many resources in California, and I am just blown away at the dearth of resources all over the country. My son lives in his own house with 24/7, a non-disabled roommate. He does triathlons, he has a girlfriend, and he is significantly impaired, nonverbal, walks poorly, very poorly. But, so we have all these resources in California, but I know what it's like to live in other states.
Repeat the resource one last time.
TASH, TASH. It used to stand, the anachronism is not politically correct. The Association for the Severely Handicapped. It's full of special education professionals, all kinds of professionals, professors, people doing research. Yeah.
Does anyone else have a specific resource they'd like to share? Yes.
It's not so much a resource as it is just a great idea for you to try in your state. One of the best groups of support that I was ever in was a lobby group in Virginia, who it was a group of parents of epilepsy children, or some of them were even adults, and they wanted CBD there, and so that was what they were lobbying our Congress and representatives for, and it was just a wealth of support. And I know one of the biggest problems facing a lot of our families is that one of the parents has to stay at home to care for their child, and there's only 2 states in the country that pay parents of minors to care for their disabled children. So if you have time, that's probably some kind of a support group you can try to organize.
Hey, I just want to give a plug, like Erin was saying, about getting involved in your child's PTA. PTA or PTSA, Parents Teacher Student Association. I ended up for years with Sierra School, and then when she got to high school and really didn't, I just stay home. There was check with your school if there is a special needs parent-student association in Edmond School District. There was, so I got really active with them. And when Sierra was in elementary school, they really needed someone to be a legislative liaison, like stay in touch with, the bills that were currently in the state legislature and advocate and all. And, I really enjoyed it. Each of my children has gone to Olympia. That's the state capitol in Washington. And it was so fun because Sierra was in 5th grade, and she walked up and she said, "I would like to meet with the governor, please." And they said, "Well, she's not in today." And Sierra's like, "Mom, when can you bring me back here? Let's make an appointment." And it's anytime you can reach out, anytime you can meet other people, and if you can become a part of something like that, it doesn't matter if your kid is different. Like Georgia was saying, your child has every right to be there. Your child is part of the community, and you need to empower your child to be part of the community.